Humans have continued to ask this very important but difficult question: who is God? Does God exist? Is God an illusion? Scientists, philosophers, thinkers, religious people have tried answering and asking these questions over the years. Now, what if we have no God? What if a God does not exist? Then we would be left with no other option than to go with science, or let's say evolution. The theory of evolution. We have the evolutionists who are quite opposed to the creationists. So we have to pick up on the theory of evolution, the Big Bang. And we have the LUCA, the LUCA, the last universal common ancestor, which is said to have existed about 4 billion years ago, and all life came through it. However, we are still going to be left with that question. Maybe man will also still continue to ask that question, that if there is the LUCA, if there is the Big Bang, and then molecules and particles and all that, the beginning, what happened at the beginning? What predated the Big Bang? What predated the last universal common ancestor? So, well, even if we all get to agree in the world that there is no God, and then we pick on the theory of evolution, we are still going to start to ask the same question again. What is the beginning? The beginning of time, the beginning of days. Other than that, let's put in some philosophy. If there was no God, then what would be the basis of good and evil? Someone says, no, okay, fine, God looks at me, I don't want to do this, you don't want to lie, you don't want to steal, you don't want to kill your fellow humans, because you have something like the 10 Commandments. You have the Muslims talks about Allah says don't do this and don't do that, and then the Jews says their own as well. Now, if we all do not believe in God and then there is no God, so we have to debate what is good and what is bad. And perhaps most of what we think are bad today may not be bad. For example, we have lies. So when you tell lies, no one is going to buy the idea or a concept of lies. You probably say something like a motive consequentialism, that is not the action that you judge, but the end result. So no one criminalizes lying, and then lying does not, your conscience is not going to have an idea of maybe you are telling lies or so, except if the constitution of a state defines what is a lie or not. And also there would be, let's say, something like justice. When you look at many religious people who believe in God, they say that there is a God who is going to raise you up after you die. Islam, Christianity, for example, and then the good ones are going to go to heaven, and then the bad ones, the evil ones, are going to go to hell. So I think, other than the rules that the government of a state might have spelled out, I think this is quite a motivation for many religious people not to do evil. It seems to be the basis, their motivation for doing good, for feeding the orphans, for helping the poor, all those and all that. So if we stop believing in God, and in the real sense, if we have no God, and then there will be no concept of the afterlife, I think life would be much more chaotic. I think life would be much more violent. So people can do things because they believe that no one is going to call them into account. So there is this idea of justice. Someone believes that, well, even if you harm him, maybe there is a God who is going to, maybe reward you, when he gets to die, when he gets to get resurrected. So, and then if there's no God and then there's no afterlife, what happens to people that have killed hundreds, thousands of people, millions of people, the ones who have raped different types of women, who have killed women, killed children, who have done what we at this time, in our world of today, call what is wrong and evil. Evil and good might be relative, but maybe we all quite agree with the fact that when you kill people, when you chase people away from their homes, when you enslave people, then we could say these things are wrong. So if there is no God and there is no concept of the afterlife, a life after death, then anyone can be good and anyone can be bad. In fact, we might not even have an idea of good and evil. Anyone can just kill 1,000 people because he believes he just gets to die, and then when he dies, then there is no long years or infinity of suffering. It just goes off. Well, so if people start to believe, or if there is no God and we have no idea of maybe there is a God, then the idea of an afterlife will not be there as well. So in that sense, then life might be much more violent and more chaotic. And maybe we also probably might have robots, computers, cameras, glasses, wristwatches that do not necessarily have to be created or invented by anyone. Because if we all are humans and other creatures and the galaxies and the solar systems and all those and all that, the entire universe, the cosmos, if it is all a chance, probably a chance, probably a mistake, probably just a product of a big bang that has nothing that predates it, then perhaps we might have computers and robots who might also have their own thought processes, their own thoughts, have their free will, and then they will reject the idea that there is a man that created them. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Heal TV. Let's heal the world.